Hey folks, welcome back. Ryan O'Neill once again with another beginner guitar lesson. Okay, so last we took a look at embellishments on the C major, open C, and the open D, using my pick up and put down a finger method. Today we're gonna go through the last three chords of the open chords: G major, A major, and E major. So for G major, okay, so there's a couple things we can do here. For the G major, we know the G major is G, B, and D. So there's a D on the third fret of the second string. So we can play that. I think with the open G, most of the embellishments I use are, okay, I'll slow down. Let's get the pinky working again. So with the open G, the first one I can think of is stretching that pinky to the fifth fret and adding that A, which is an add 9. Remember the add 9 from, I believe, the C add 9. This would be a G add 9, because when you add a 9 to a G, you get an A at the top. And then we can also add that pinky. Now I don't do that very much because when I'm playing the G major, I'd play it in a different place. But yeah, that is something you can do as a beginner playing open chord, if you can get that stretch. But the high A is more likely, I think. Now, the really cool embellishments happen on the pull-offs and the hammer-ons, I think. So I think with the G major chord, you got that open B here. You can always play the B, hammer on the D, pull back off for the B again. And then you can play the G or the D. They're both open, right? You got that nice open section of D, G, B. You can play the G chord without fretting anything. That's a fun embellishment. Picking up the A string and then putting that first finger back down. A, B, G. You got that open A, B, G. If you can hammer it on, right? Same thing for that open D. We can play the open D and then fret at the first fret to get that E. Hammer-ons. Fun fact, that was one of the first riffs I ever wrote playing with my friend Hannah back in the day. Shout out to Hannah Mess. Yeah, you can do a lot of things with open chords, especially if you're a beginner and you think, oh, I don't know, I can't, just checking my phone, sorry. And you're like, I can't play riffs. Yeah, you can. You can make up riffs using the open chords you have. Just pick up a finger, put down a finger, and see how it sounds. And that's the G string. So on the G string, you can fret the G string, the D string, and the A string can all be fret at the second fret when you're playing that G chord to get some nice things going. Yeah. So those are embellishments on the G chord. Let's move on to the A chord. My favorite embellishment ever on the A. If you're using 3 fingers, you would use your pinky again on the B string. I don't play it like this. So. If you use one finger, you can use your second finger there. And if you play like me with two fingers, you just use whatever is the next free finger to fret the what's that? D? Yeah, the D on the B string. So many letters. Right? Again, if you can do hammer-ons, right, they sound even better. Now, if you're a beginner, you're probably playing with three fingers. So I'm not going to talk about embellishments using any of these fingers because you're using them. But just know that as you progress, you'll probably want to free up some of those fingers on your A, and you probably won't use all three fingers anymore. You might drop down to 2 or 1, and then there's a lot more picking up and putting down of fingers you can do. But for now, just I'd play that D to C sharp, Fa mi, another 4-3 suspension, A 4-3 suspension, and then our final, our E chord. With the open E, if you're not doing hammer-ons, you get that pinky going, and that pinky can play that G, which gives a nice bluesy feel because you have don't worry why. It gives a nice bluesy feel. Then you can play that D as well, which technically is an E dominant 7. We'll talk about that another time. But my favorite, like, beginner ditty, D-I-T-T-Y. My favorite beginner thing to play on the E major that, like, sounds cool is, and what you're doing there is you're playing the open G, the 3rd string, and then you're hammering on, because the E major, you're fretting the G string at the 1st fret, right? But for this, you're gonna play, let's say you'll play this. And so you hammer on the B string, play the high E, and then the high E and then the B, sorry, hammer on the G string, play the high E, and then the B. Now that, you play the E and D, gives a real dominant feel to it, dominant 7 feel. That's a little more challenging, but yeah, my favorite thing to play, or hammering on the D string. So practice your hammer-ons. You can get a lot more. You can play a lot more interesting things that way. Again, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Get the pinky on that low G, 3rd fret of the low E string. Again, man, just explore it. I have some knowledge, but my ultimate knowledge is to tell you that the best way to learn something is to dive into it. You know? No, I wouldn't do that well. No, that's cool. And that's just me playing around. Hammering on that D string, 3rd fret, pulling off. A string, 3rd fret, pulling off. E string, 3rd fret, pulling off. All right, anytime these videos get near 10 minutes, I start freaking out. That's it. Now you know my pick up a finger, put down a finger method for embellishments on open chords, open major chords. You can try this method on minor chords as well. You might find some really cool things. But we'll stop for now. Till next time.